Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here today with Zane Kirby, who's president and CEO of the American Society of Travel Advisors. And something just happened this week that is affecting travel advisors. American Airlines apparently is going to try to implement the new distribution capability earlier than a lot of people thought. Which actually could result in travel advisors not having access to a lot of fares. So we're going to talk about that right now and what ASTA is asking American to do and what it hopes it will do on Insider Travel Report. Now, Zane, first of all, let's just review that. What is American's implementation of the new distribution capability in April? Now they say, how does that pose a danger to travel advisors and actually to their clients, to consumers? And remind us what the whole thing, what NDC is actually, because a lot of people may not remember this.
Yeah, so NDC, I guess, is the replacement for EDIFACT. So EDIFACT was the communication standard that American Airlines used for years and years. I believe since the mid '90s, in terms of how they distributed their or loaded their fares. As they sort of debundled their offering, particularly over the last 10 years, where they started merchandising more of the airline, what is it, experience or process.
Well, you would call it the amenities, the extras, what you want, getting baggage on, getting a seat, getting all kinds of things, those kind of additional, which actually started to make them money, I think, right?
Things that used to be bundled into the full price, right? As they put it apart and started selling them piecemeal, EDIFACT, they said, was no longer adequate up to that particular task. So they developed this new XML technology, and which does allow them to merchandise more of the airline experience, which again, ASTA has no issue with. Certainly want to make sure that people are that we're able to sell and service bookings for airline partners in the most efficient way possible. Our issue with this particular the challenge that we're having with American Airlines right now is the timing. They basically have been working on NDC for 10 years, and in late last year, in December of last year, they started calling together partners individually and started making noise publicly that they were going to no longer support EDIFACT-based fares as of some date in April, and that 40% of the content for EDIFACT fares would be removed without telling us which 40% or when, on what date that would actually happen.
Which means that travel advisors couldn't book 40% of the fares they have on there, and no other airline has done this, right?
Yeah, this is certainly they are out front and doing this on their own. Now, it's important to note, James, that we went to American Airlines and asked them, behind the scenes, candidly, if they could at least give us some more time to make sure that front, mid, and back office systems would be able to handle NDC bookings, and they sort of honestly felt like it kind of flatly turned us down. We then had a subsequent call with several of their corporate customers and got the same answer. So I think one of the real challenges that we have here, James, is we do not know which 40% or when the content that is going to be removed from EDIFACT bookings, other than a nebulous sort of date unspoken in April.
Right.
And I think that's what has everyone on edge here, to be honest with you. So if American Airlines would just say out loud, here are the city fares, here are the fares, here are fare classes that we're going to be pulling, and on these dates, that could help people prepare. But the reality is that NDC and everyone I talk to, both corporate customers as well as agency owners, have said that their systems are not ready for this yet.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely true. Although, there are, and it's funny because this is an issue that dates back, I don't know, I think it's about 10 years now when NDC first was being mentioned, and people thought, a lot of travel advisors and a lot of GDSs thought that was the way that airlines were going to bypass both advisors and maybe the GDS. But then the GDS started to get involved and started to develop NDC programs, and large agencies started to develop that. But we're just not there yet, I guess. And that's what's happening, because some people do have access to NDC, these fares. But in your view, it's just too early. I mean, because you want to get all the advisors out there having equal access.
It primarily deals with corporate customers and people who book through large corporate booking tools like Concur. Concur is flatly said, which is the largest corporate booking tool. They flatly said they're not going to be ready in April.
Yeah, which is crazy. Why wouldn't you want that? I mean, that's
and that's just it. That's why we raised the issue with the Department of Transportation, because originally, American Airlines didn't apply for NDC. Originally, it was IATA. It was their trade group, the International Airline Trade Association. And but in that application that the DOT approved in 2014, this was sold to the Department of Transportation as pro-consumer and pro-competition. This was going to allow people to look at different fare classes and bundles of services from different airlines. But the way that this is being implemented now, where again 40% of one airline's content is going to be obfuscated or withheld from the normal channel, in lieu of this new NDC. It's like pulling, when it's not quite ready for prime time. It's anti-consumer, and it's certainly anti-competitive.
Well, I guess my question is, how does this benefit American? It sounds like without having access to a large portion of the distribution system for its fares, they're saying, look, those are just going to have to be done directly or with just of the few people that do have NDC access.
Yeah, it certainly seems in the short, unless the long-term game is that we're absolutely, to your point, that we want to be less reliant on GDSs and less reliant on travel advisors. And so this is a really a grab back at the control of their inventory, complete control of their inventory. Then this move makes sense, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah, well, you've of course heard the same rumors I have, and the same stories that American has cut a lot of its travel agency and corporate travel salespeople. It seems to indicate that it wants to go back to kind of a more direct booking strategy, or one that involves fewer players with NDC.
Yeah, that's certainly fair speculation. You'd have to ask them what their intention is.
Because I've heard that from a few people that their salespeople have gone. They've been let go, and it's sort of sad, because a few years ago we finally saw what we thought was the return of the airlines to the agency distribution system. We suddenly started seeing them appear at ASTA, for example. We've had airline panels. I mean, I didn't see those about 10 years ago, but now we had them back, and now it looks like once again. Here's an airline that is kind of making another decision and to go in a different direction with distribution.
Yeah, it appears, again, I don't know what people's motives are. I can only see what they end up doing. The signals that they've made are certainly in that direction, James. And the sad part is, to me, that this is done against a backdrop of us all just coming out of a pandemic, where people are absolutely just love it, just inexorably loving to, just wanting to travel so badly, and willing to swallow incredible price increases and inflationary pressures on travel, because they've been denied it for 2 years, and they realize how important it is, how it enhances mental health, it enhances relationships, it helps people see new things and see new places and have new experiences, how important that is to just what it is to be human. And the real challenge, the real sort of thing that gets in my craw, and I don't want to make too much of this, but American Airlines took $13.8 billion in government grants. That's a big number.
That was during the pandemic. Yeah, they as other airlines did the same thing, and now and they got through it. But here we have what's going on now.
We don't begrudge them that at all, but there isn't a travel agency in America that wouldn't have traded places with them in terms of government support, because most travel agencies got about 2 months worth of PPP loan forgiveness. $13.8 billion would pay every man, woman, and child who works for American Airlines for over a year.
Right, right,
So
absolutely. Now, in your heart of hearts, what do you hope will happen? Do you think there's a chance that American will respond and actually postpone implementation? That's my first question. You think there's a chance for
well,
that?
I think that they have sort of made their public statements that I don't anticipate that they'll back down from that. To me, the best solution or the best move forward at this point, recognizing all of the different corners that everyone has put themselves in, is for them to continue to support both places and not remove content. Throughout whenever until such time as NDC bookings are up and running, and that all of their important distribution partners in the travel agency community are able to serve customers and to manage bookings and rebookings all the way through for their corporate clients.
Absolutely,
So
and of course, yeah, and of course, advisors, travel agencies still book. I mean, well over half of all airline seats, to my knowledge.
Yeah, it is over half of all airline seats, but more importantly, it's their corporate customers, while they're still sort of working their way back. ASTA's research says that for the large corporate customers, it's somewhere in the 70 to 75% back, but for small corporate customers, it's in the 90 to 95% back to pre-pandemic levels. I mean, they've also returned in mass, and I know that maybe perhaps some of the airlines aren't quite as reliant on corporate customers as they were before, but this is also an area where these are extremely important customers and lucrative customers, and a customer base that I just don't understand why you would want to either alienate them or for 1 minute remove the content so that their travel agency partners could see fares but were unable to book them in real time.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. Now, if AA does not back down or at least allow equal access, at least for a time, do you think there's a chance that other airlines, the big ones, Delta, United, et cetera, will follow American's move and try to implement NDC sooner?
Well, again, we don't have a problem with NDC, James. NDC is fine. It's just the speed and the sort of the sort of blind eye to the challenges that others are facing in terms of servicing our joint customers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hope that if and when, and I know other airlines are working on NDC. I know there are airlines that are overseas that are actually fully NDC right now.
Right.
And that's not the issue here. The issue is the timing, and the issue is the tactics.
Absolutely.
And just to say, listen, we don't care how this affects you. Just go ahead and do it. It smacks of just a sort of a tin ear in terms of understanding, that our shared customers need to be cared for in a way that they seem unwilling to do right now.
Now, my final question is there anything else you want to tell your members and other travel advisors and agencies about this situation, about the American move, and how would you like to see them respond?
Well, no, I mean, every business has to make its own decisions. Just know that ASTA is on the case, and we're going to continue pushing for this. We're going to, and to be honest with you, we've gone back to the the original application, and we will be talking with our friends at the Department of Transportation about how this is, about some of the behavior here and how we find it troubling. And we wouldn't wish regulation on hardly anyone, but honestly, in this regard, James, we have to be vigilant, and we can't leave our members unable to care for their customers. So NDC has some great promise. In fact, I'm hopeful that travel advisors will finally get credit for and get remunerated for the work that they do in selling airline tickets to their customers. And if that means that that bundles are at a higher price and people are willing to pay more for them, I'm hopeful that the commissions will likewise rise. That's my concern in all this. But just know that we're going to continue trying to talk and work with American Airlines and trying to help them understand the plight of travel advisors until such time as this is resolved.
Well, Zane, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk about this situation. We're going to be following it eagerly, and And our next interview, hopefully a little more happier, because we're on the verge of your River Cruise Expo this week. When this comes out, it'll be this coming week when I'll see you there. And that next interview will be talking about the great joy of booking river cruises for that your members can do, and also a great conference as it was last year. So again, I'll see you soon. But again, thanks for taking the time today.
Thanks, James.